What's up everybody, this is Noc.V. Today I wanted to show you guys an overview of the OK Boomer track, talk about some of the things I did, the techniques I used.
Sorry, I don't know how to help with.
Shut up, Google. For some reason my Google Home likes to go off whenever it hears the words OK Boomer. Hey Google, Alexa was better.
You think so too? I have to say it's pretty awesome.
Anyways, let's get into it. This is probably one of the cleaner projects I've worked with. Most of my stuff is pretty well organized compared to what I usually do. A lot of stuff is bounced out because, of course, having CPU issues, this laptop's a piece of shit. I also have a lot of plugins disabled in the effects channels because I needed to save the CPU so I could actually record this video. I know one of you guys on Reddit, I can't remember exactly who it was, but somebody was asking about the vocals and how I did them. So I'm going to go through that in detail, just stay tuned for that. So let's break this down. What we have at the beginning is just a sub oscillator. Then we have this pluck pad using Serum. I believe this is a Stone Bank preset. Then we have some strings using the Contact Factory presets. I think it's just a cello and a violin, maybe. Then all together with some crashes and some rises. Now what I have up here is a really stretched out version of the crowd vocals, and then this is run through a massive thick reverb. This was a tip given to me by Rocky. Honestly, I think it gives the track a whole ghostly kind of feel to the beginning of it. It sounds really cool. So then we bring in a clap here. Then our lead, starting off pretty low pass. Here's our automation clip, bringing that up. So let's talk about these vocal clips. So these were made with TTS MP3 here. I think using the US Joanna character, I think it's called. I was able to just type in these phrases and have it say whatever I wanted to say.
Climate change isn't real.
Now you might notice the timing of these syllables aren't exactly the same as what's played in the track. The way I fixed that was just by kind of slicing the clips around and moving the syllables around manually. So then you get something that sounds a bit like this.
Climate change isn't real. Climate change isn't real.
Now let's have a listen to what some of the other ones were before.
Christianity is under attack. Millennials are so entitled.
Climate change.
OK Boomer is offensive.
OK
Boomer is offensive.
Next up we have some TTS saying OK Boomer, but it's in a different accent, and it's panned left and right a little bit.
OK Boomer.
This is a layer underneath the whole crowd vocals. You don't really hear it that much. Now that right there was actually a vocoder. So what I've used right there is the voice sample as a modulator and then a noise wave as the carrier. This was actually a tip given to me by Alaguan. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I'm probably completely butchering it. Feel free to yell at me. I'll get it right next time. The intent for this was to make the crowd vocals sound a lot more full, and I think it totally does a good job on that.
OK Boomer.
Then we've got the actual crowd recorded vocals.
OK Boomer. OK Boomer.
After I finish going over the rest of this project, I'll open up a different project where I sort of strung together all of these samples to make that whole crowd vocal thing.
OK Boomer. Christianity is under attack. OK Boomer. Millennials are so entitled. OK Boomer.
Climate change.
So let's take a look at this bass. This was a layer of, I believe, a Stone Bank preset and a Jacoby preset. So what do we got? Yeah, Pump 2 and Donk 1. Now, originally I'd made my own preset using Phase Plant, but I don't think I really liked the way it sounded. Yeah, not as good as the other presets. So these are the two main lead patterns. Together they sound a bit like this. Oops, I need to enable the automation clip. Now this is the Round Y kick by Hente Core. Awesome kick samples this guy makes, amazing. So now during the drop we have these pads, this screech. Pretty sick screech. Used a tutorial on YouTube to make this. I can't remember where it is, but yeah, it sounds pretty awesome. And then we've got this pluck thing here. Percussion, downlifter, rides, claps. Then all together that sounds a bit like this.
Climate change isn't real.
Christianity is under.
Then after the drop I add some grow speed over the top of these vocals to chop them up a bit.
Climate.
Christianity is under. Millennial. Okay.
Climate.
Then in the breakdown we have this cool ass hardstyle lead. Now this is a really cool lead and I kind of wanted to show you guys how to make this. So just open up some Serum. Change the first oscillator over to a square wave. Turn on mono and legato. Then crank up the portamento a bit. Then we want to go into the effects and put on some distortion. Turn this into pre-mode. Then get it up closer to high pass. Then crank up the drive all the way. Now enable the noise oscillator, but turn the level down because we don't want to hear it. What we're going to use this for is an FM source for the first oscillator. And put this up a bit past halfway. You can really hear that dirty sound coming through. So let's put this on the same effect slot so we get the same sound from it. Pretty close. The one thing we're missing is the pitch envelope. So get on over to envelope number 2 and turn everything down. Except for the decay, bring that up just a little bit. Now let's go route this up in the matrix. Set this first one to global master tune. Then set the source to the second envelope, and then turn up the amount just a little bit. Too much. Let's turn that down a little bit. Nice. So the high end is just a little bit different. This is probably due to how we're using the distortion on it. Nope. Yeah, that sounds a bit better. Let's actually copy this tune over to the new serum and see how it sounds. Also, before I forget, there is a second layer, which is kind of just like a basic detuned saw kind of thing. Then together that sounds a bit like this. Now back to the track. This here is a hardstyle kick from the Frontliner sample pack. No, I don't make my own hardstyle kicks, that's just way too goddamn hard for me. And I'm not really a hardstyle producer, so it's cool. Now, moving on to this little drum and bass section.
Christianity's under attack. Millennials are so entitled. Okay, boomer is offensive.
But I'm a millennial.
Let's check out the hardstyle kick. Then the leads. Some leads like that. Need the side chain. honestly, that's pretty much it. I probably glossed over a couple of things. Honestly, if there's anything you want to say, just kind of let me know. I'll get back to you. For now, let's take a look at the project I used to compile the crowd vocals. The way this was done was literally my wife and I yelling "Okay Boomer" over and over, and then just layering them all together.
Okay, Boomer.
They're kind of cringy to listen to on their own. The intention was that we would do some in an Australian accent style and some in an American accent style. So I would have these horrible attempts at an American accent, and my wife would also have these horrible attempts at an Australian accent. So in the end, I kind of just mixed them all together, and you can kind of tell. So we did 6 recordings of each different type, I think 3 in one accent, 3 in the other, but then also a whole other inflection with another 6 recordings on top of that. I'll spare you having to listen to them all individually, so let's just bring in the layers one by one and see how it kind of builds up.
Okay, Boomer. 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 Okay, Boomer.
So yeah, it actually kind of works pretty well. One of the things I did was bounce down half of them and then flip the left and right stereo. That's kind of why I have these 2 versions up here. The reason why I did this is because the mic I was using was a stereo mic, and I was on the left and my wife was on the right. So by splitting it up and flipping the stereo on one of them, it kind of balanced both of us out on both channels. Alright, so that's just about it. Hope you guys like these full track overviews. I'm going to try and do one for every release I do, I guess. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe if you want to see more. If you want to support me and the stuff that I do, make sure to check out the Patreon link in the description. Through my Patreon, you can get stuff like early releases to tracks, as well as full project files and stems for all of my releases. I also have a Discord server too, so if you want to hang out and talk music, check out the link in the description for that too. See you guys in the next video. Laters.